whatever, this is one of the OG RPGs. This is how this works. And here's what because they understand, like, obviously Pikachu and whatnot. But I was like, all right, so you get to pick. Like, and then there was an argument about who we pick. And I was like, well, somebody's going to pick. And we're going with Bulbasaur. So we rock that, even though Bulbasaur got the weakest runs, but still.
Personal preference.
It's just personal preference. I'm just trying to hang out. I'm going to switch them out anyway. Like, you can swap out regardless. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, this is ridiculous and necessary. Pokemon. Right on. We got some folks coming in. Big fan. Blue for life. Yeah, it's Squirtle forever. That was my favorite, like the cartoon. Seeing Squirtle. But yes, we got some folks coming in. Welcome. We're going to talk about building trust in IRL, as the kids like to abbreviate everything. Just one of those things. Let's see here. Let me make sure where I can. Love to get a shout out. What are y'all eating? What are you sipping on right now? That's what I care about. I know you guys are from planet Earth. I'm one of those residents as well. What are you sipping on? Because I know somebody's got beverage. Jeremy, what you got? Because I got this PJ's coffee to celebrate Mardi Gras. That's what I got.
So without going down a rabbit hole, I have a Starbucks addiction.
Fair.
And so in an effort to not spend all of my money on Starbucks, we now get like their bottled coffee, iced coffee and creamer, and it is better than just about every Starbucks I go to. It's not burnt, it's perfect. So I'm just finishing up my first cup of that.
Man, I had a tea from Jeju Island in South Korea, the Asalak Tea Farm, rocking this black tea with papaya from South Korea. Then hitting the PJs, also that Shandong, let's not forget. Just because. We got the athletic greens now have converted into, again, like I said, the abbreviation filled millennials of AG1, Austin, Texas. Shout out to the Texans. I'm in McKinney, Texas, north of Dallas. What's up, Ingrid? We are doing it big. So without further ado, because Jeremy and I are going to ramble, this won't be your average webinar, folks. I'm not going to apologize because we're going to be ourselves. We love people. We love humans. And that's kind of like what we're trying to break through, right? Is all this, dare I say, bullshit on the internet. These people that may not even be people, like it's hard to tell, but it's easy to tell, right? Like our brains are so acknowledged to like what's good, what's bad. Should I run? Should I give it a hug? Should I eat it? Right? We understand these things with humans and we know when something's off, and this webinar won't be off because we're real people. So what are we going to talk about today? You know what? We got a good agenda. You guys know what's going down. We're going to talk about these humans. We're going to talk about the business of trust, because regardless of what industry you're in, it is about trust. Like, is this person going to steal my phone? Is it like, if I take a picture of us, Jeremy, is this guy going to run off? What do we do here? Like, so we talk about events and really bringing people together, right? We want to get people around the campfire and start to strengthen relationships, because anything can lead from there. People have met people, you may not realize when you start a relationship with somebody, whether it be business, whether it be personal, whether it be friendship, where that's going to lead. But one thing matters is that it's going to be based on trust. And here's where that also can break down in what the happy path looks like as well. And we'll answer some questions of how this is. But first and foremost, I'm Dax. I'm co-founder, chief care officer of Happily. We do event tech on top of HubSpot. We care about that interpersonal relationship. And I don't want to steal your thunder, Jeremy. Yeah,
well, thank you. I'm really happy to be here. And I am counter co-signing the no BS train. So you're going to get the nitty gritty and the how I actually feel about this stuff. So I'm excited to chat through it with you. I'm Jeremy Steinbring, founder of RevOnyx, and we are all things RevOps and RevOps systems. So we help integrate tools, make our customers make good buying decisions, and make sure that they all talk together.
It's a big deal. So let's talk about this business of trust here. Like, I think people are just kind of grazing over it, right? Like, why are we doing all these things right now? Everything is AI can replace people. I vibe coded Robinhood Stock Exchange on the toilet yesterday. Man, you see their stock down. There must have been an analyst bugging my phone because I did this thing that was going to replace these people or replace this software. But again, you still need experts to do the expert things, right? Like but who do you do? Who do you just think that, who do you talk to when you really do need something? Because there's always like, man, I just wish I could pick up the phone, talk to a human, because sometimes AI is lying to me. Shout out to my shower head that didn't get fixed the way it said it was. Oh, whoops, you have a Moen, not a Delta, I'm sorry. But when we think about trust, our first reference that we'll look at is the LinkedIn that we're all kind of a big part of, this LinkedIn ecosystem of sharing stories, sharing business etiquette, really trying to build trust with the audience. Well, how do you build trust with the audience when you're copy pasting everything that AI has said? This is just one easy example of these names have been changed to protect the innocent or the guilty.
I was going to say, there's no chill. You're putting the actual names out there.
BS. No, it's just, they may not be human. That's the thing. But the names have been changed to protect the innocent. But still, when you look at this that we're seeing, and we see it all the time, it's just, what is this? What do you think, right? Like, Jeremy, where are you seeing this kind of break in trust online?
Everywhere. Every place you look, your email, your Slack, even your calendar. I mean, this trend of just inviting people, guessing emails and inviting people to calendar events to get them to show up. I mean, we're talking about events right now. What a way to break trust to start out. If there was any shot at me being interested in your product or your tool or your service or whatever you're trying to pitch me, you have zero chance of converting me once you've already done that, because you're not respecting my time. You're kind of insulting my intelligence. You're just, even something simple like putting RE in, with the colon before you put in the like, they understand that I'm a busy founder. I get probably 1,000 emails a day, and I'm gonna look. But that, even if I land on it, it's like an instant decline or spam or whatever, because you're trying to use trickery instead of actually trying to help me. And I see this everywhere. LinkedIn's pretty, it's pretty terrible. I'm sure everybody's seen it. There's really no other way to say it. And to be honest, we don't do any automation. Like, when I meet people or try to do networking, I reach out personally and write all my own messages personally, but it's hard because you don't really know if it's me or not. If on the other side, it's
exactly tough. They ruin it for everybody.
Exactly right. Yeah. They're ruining it for everybody.
You like have to swear and put cat pictures and stuff just to be like, look, I would have walked up to your house, right? Like, I don't care. It's a real person. And then you immediately get that. And even so, with people that are doing the automated reach out, I mean, it's not I wouldn't say it's the medium is okay. Like, I understand if you want to play a numbers game, you should. You got to play a numbers game. There's a lot of numbers. You have a target to hit. You've got the number of people you want. But if you can follow that up with humanity and be like, yeah, that above message, that was AI. I was just trying to get your attention. Like, look, I'm a real person. My favorite color is purple. Like, let's chat. There's something there. But the way we look at it is like, events is one of those things where you're not at your house stumbling and fumbling, doing all this stuff and really trying to like go about your day, and then you get intercepted with messages and interruptions, right? Because it used to be talked about like we are in the attention economy, right? It used to be all about attention, but now I don't want to give out any attention because I'm already so jaded on what is out there or what I'm doing. I really care about it. It breaks it down. Like, we go into like your true tribal mentality. Once you break it down, you end up being like, well, dude, I don't really need anything right now. Like, Jeremy, we're dudes. We got this Y chromosome. Like, we're fine. We're totally fine with doing it as we always have. Like, as long as the roof's over our head, our kids are okay, our partners are okay. Like, we're good. Like, whatever you have, I'm probably like good. Now, I always put this, like, when you break it down, like, I think there's a book, talks about like the croc brain, and it's fight or flight immediately. And when you put AI in that mix, it's flight. It's flight. I don't need it. It's like walking into the store and people are like, hey, can I help you? You're like, no.
Yeah, right. Leave me alone. Like, I'm just browsing.
I just walked in the store. I smelled something. I was like, can I help you? No. And that's not even the salesperson or the sales gal. That's not even their fault. They're not even doing anything really wrong. Like, you walked into their store. They're like, hey, can I help you find anything? And you're like, leave me alone. Like, why are we're so adept to put our dukes up that all of these things are really preventing anybody from growing, because it's our duty, Jeremy. It's your duty with RevOnyx. It's my duty with Happily to let people know that there are solutions to solve their problems, right? That's the biggest thing. But when you work from the bottom up and the hierarchy of needs, we're already stuck at the bottom. And what we believe is that, where do you go? When is your defenses knocked down? And a lot of times for us, our Super Bowl going to inbound, my defenses are completely down. When I go to an event, I showed up, left my house. I decided to go to this thing. Am I going to go in there and hate everybody? Why did I leave my house then? If I'm not open to or not receptive to any of the messages or the people, the relationship that could potentially come there. So, it's a big deal. And as a professional service company, RevOnyx, where do you seek to build the relationships? Because I don't think it's through sending cold DMs or calendar spam to try to see something in your calendar. Where do you go to seek these relationships to strengthen your business and others?
Yeah, well, so it's kind of interesting because our entire business, the reason that it exists is because I was able to figure out how to do this part right. And it starts from the very beginning. We don't do any cold outbound. We don't do any traditional marketing. Everything is word of mouth and networking. And when I started this company, and I'll go down a little bit of a rabbit hole because I think it's relevant, but when I started this company, I did not have a giant Rolodex of fancy, PE guys to give me, their first couple clients. I had to work. Starting from the ground zero. And so how I did that was I would network, I'd answer questions, I'd give value right off the bat, right? Because all I had is the knowledge in my head that I could give to people. And that actually turned into people wanting to reciprocate, wanting to lean in, wanting to talk with me. Who is this guy that, is a founder of a company that's taking 30 minutes to help me with my email syncing issue? This is not compute. Why have I not been asked for a demo or for me to buy their thing or for whatever? And so it's interesting because, I start that way with a lot of our customers, and then we do what we say we're going to do. And we do high quality work, which then backs up that trust, and we get referrals and people from that. It's just word of mouth because we try to be the relationship RevOps team, not just the all business RevOps team. We understand who they are as people, what they care about. And that is one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we get. And so without this, I don't have a company. I'm working somewhere else. I'm working insurance. I'm doing something a lot less fun and boring. But it starts from the very beginning, from conversation number one.
And I think that when people are coming to webinars and things like that, listen to people like us, goofballs, talking, and all we're doing is reiterating the core things that we know. Need I go back to the physiological needs? You said you were going to do something that you said you were going to do. Mm-hmm. You did it. You said you wanted to help somebody. You helped them. Mm-hmm. I feel safe, right?
Yep.
Also, if you're not an a-hole, I belong with you. You're a part of this. I can fudge with you, as they say, right? This is social belonging. You start to get it. When you help me, it makes me feel better about myself. And then it makes me actualize what I'm none of this happens. A lot of people skip right over this and go to banging down a message in their door without trying to help, without lowering the defenses. And we look at this when you see this trust in was I just a name and a number? Was I just a notch? Jeremy, who was I? And then when I come to meet you, you're hey, you're dude, we talked for 2 hours at this event or whatever. You don't even remember me. I'm not important. Now I've just inverted the pyramid, and I'm this guy is up to no good. It's not genuine. It's not true. So we want to help people understand that events and bringing people together allows you that base, that canvas to actually make a relationship and actually build trust, because it's really hard to do so because of everyone's force fields are up on the internet. Everybody's getting inundated with messages. Everyone is a media company now. And instead they need to be a hospitality company and talk about how you can serve people, how you can see about their email sync and actually just help them out and be if you have any other problems, I'm around, but I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to help you because that's what this world needs, is some help, because it's my duty. I know these things. And when you bring, whether it be prospects or current clients, especially the current clients, like, I want you to know that we have never met in person, but Jeremy, don't you, like, I know you meet a lot of you're all word of mouth, right? Which is number one, huge to promote, because if another person is telling you about a third party, then they're putting their trust in, like, I wouldn't give you this recommendation if I didn't trust it myself. That is the biggest thing about co-signing and why that's so important and why people don't optimize for that. But when you then meet through a third person, you see people and you're doing everything virtually, and then you guys meet in person, like everyone knows, like, that magic. I don't even know what it is, but you have this feeling of like, oh, you're taller than you were a person. Oh, I didn't think you would look like that. Like, there's these two worlds that are trying to combine, right? And try to, like, work on the same resonance, like the music with the windshield wipers. Like, it's all trying to come together. And your brain goes through this really interesting metamorphosis, especially in this, like, virtual age. We're all at our houses with pajamas on underneath, the top. Like, when you meet people in person, things happen, things that you didn't expect to happen, relationships, and all these things don't happen. So all of the, like, tertiary things, like sales cycles, and like, oh, our sales cycle is super long. It's like 9 months. Like, how do you expect to make that seamless and smooth without, like, shaking hands with the person? Like, I don't know. I mean, tell me about your relationships and how that works, and what a difference it makes if you get to meet them in person, or how you kind of facilitate that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, like, humans were not meant to build relationships through a computer screen. Like, we've normalized that because of the world that we live in, and to some extent it's helpful, right? I don't have to fly around the country. I get to see my kids, and my wife. So it's not natural for you to build a long-standing relationship on screen. It's just not. Now, I think because we all kind of meet at the same spot and know that a lot of times, we're not meeting in person, I think we can build relationships. We have a lot of relationships with people who have not personally met. But for those that I have, whether it's at a conference or, they're in town in Phoenix for an event or whatever, it definitely changes things. I remember how they made me feel more than just what they say, which is something I've always preached, right? People will always remember how you made them feel. And there's so much about communication that is nonverbal that you just don't get through a Zoom, a Zoom meeting or a Zoom link. The other thing, and this is probably adjacent, it's not really the question that you asked, but the other thing that kind of pisses me off, is when people go to events seeking business. Like, I'll give you an example. I've talked to a lot of people that are like, hey, I'm interested in maybe going to events or creating partnerships and doing all of this. And, I really want to go and find some new clients. You're looking for the wrong thing. What you should be trying to do is you should be looking for conversations where you can add value. Because I can't tell you how many of my clients came from people that didn't buy from me, but I created trust with someone that knew somebody that became a referral source to create. So, like, you can't be like, okay, and what's your ICP? Okay, and like, that just it doesn't make any sense, right? Like, you have to be able to have a conversation and actually care about them a little bit to get to know them, and the rest will come. But I think mindset is a huge piece of this. People go to these events and they don't have that mindset. And it's funny because you definitely stand out if you actually take a second to listen and learn who somebody is. They'll remember you. Absolutely.
Yeah, people are trying to do the inverse. They're not looking at the baseline of the pyramid of, like, why are they here? Well, they left their home. Like, where's their home? What did they leave? Like, why are you here? It's like less why are you here, but what did you leave? Like, where is because you aren't here. You as the person, you are at home, you are a part of your home. Those, like, have those conversations first. Like, everything else is so unnecessary for humanity, right? All this extra stuff that we've built is all extra. It's all extra. This is all new. This is all this, millennium, like, type of things, right? That's why we talk about the campfire. Like, we just got to hunt and tell the stories and pass down the stories of hunting, right? So, but it's to bring that right around, right? When you talk to people and they come to hunt, right? I'm about to get it.
It's terrible.
So this pipeline, like, you smell what they smell. You smell blood. They're like, well, what is, man, I don't want to talk to you. Even if you have something to help me, like I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
Like,
And sometimes they do. Sometimes they have something that would actually be helpful, but I'm just so turned off by the conversation that it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't matter. You're fine. You'd rather be just fine. And that's where it really breaks, right? And where we try to make sure that when you do plan an event, when you do bring people together, like you should have a reason for it. Because if you just imagine that you're going to bring a bunch of people that not even bring, people have their own free will. They have to leave their house and go to something. But if there's no full context of like planning, it's like a birthday party and they're just like, yeah, we're just going to go to the park. And you're like, but what are we going to do at the park? Because we go to the park all the time. It's like, oh, we'll figure it. No, you drop off the gift at the door and like you go do whatever you have to do, right? But understanding like who are the people? Like when people plan events, it's usually I'm the planner and I want to know what I'm going, who I want to bring because I have an agenda. Just like you said, Jeremy, like I have an agenda, but you don't think about the connections that could be made. When you plan your event, if you think of who's going to meet, that is what turns it into a true, like really high resonance event where people are together and you're like, oh, they should meet them. And I know that they're all both in the same thing. So when you have things that are like in a certain geography, obviously being people that are close, but in the industry and having all those people together, that's where you really start to plan out and having a good list. But if you don't do that and you're like, oh, they all hate each other actually, but I want to get them in the same room because I want them to meet me, like this egotistical, self-centered.
You want people that hate each other in the same room just so you can film it? Like
that sounds like a whole industry to me. I think it's called Big Brother, right? The real
right, exactly.
All those things are like, I just want to film it because again, it's about me. No, understanding that and like when you do that engagement when you're at an event, whether you're hosting or attending an event, you go to this event and you're talking to people and you just literally don't ever talk to them again. Like you, not only did you waste their breath, you wasted yours, right? Mm-hmm. Like you just need to show up, at least acknowledge that we met. Hey, met you on the place. We talked about this. I know it's not a fit, but best of luck. Let me know if you always have a resource, right? Yeah. That's kind of the biggest thing. Just leave people with a breadcrumb of like the moment, right? A breadcrumb of the moment of meeting somebody. And then when you show up and you're just like, oh yeah, hey, what's going on? I'm Dax. Jeremy, nice to meet you. Where are you from? It's like, do you know I've been your client for like 5 years? My company's we've been working with you guys. You're like, oh, that's the partial memories. Like you have to have an idea of who you're getting into. And that's like kind of the shout out to HubSpot and CRM and understanding like who's going to be here. How have we worked together? Who should I talk with? What key points can I bring up that lets you know that I care? And I'm here and I know I'm aware of you. I don't know you, but that's what the event is for. Like I'm going to know you rather than just be like aware of you. So one of the key things that I'm not going to read slides, but it's always awesome at the events, right? Like we go to Inbound, we go to our Super Bowl, we go to other events. It's always a good time. We're always kicking it. Everybody's super happy. We're not bringing negativity. HubSpot does a great job of fostering like the activities and the activations and all of that. And then what happens? That's the magic. The magic is what happens afterwards. Do you remember what happened at the event? Not just a spray and pray. I have this automated AI sequence that's just like, thanks for meeting at Inbound. My stuff, my stuff, my stuff, my stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, that is the key thing that most people are doing when they have these events. So what does good look like, right? Like when you actually have an event, whether you're attending it and you're talking to people and meeting people, or you're hosting something where you've brought individuals together for a common cause, for a common good, for a common like activity, experience, like what does that good look like? So I wanted to throw it over to you and be like, when's the last good event that you went to? What came out of it? Because I know you guys go to a lot of partner events with the Chili Piper event and things like that. So would love to hear your experience I felt good at the event, of course, because they usually have alcohol and stuff, food. So you're going to feel good, but what happened afterwards that makes everything complete?
So, well, I'll tell you the times that, I've really remembered people and the relationships that I've built continue to this day because of it, is when somebody after an event reaches out to me and remembers our conversation. It's the simple thing. I'm not just one of the numbers, like you said. They actually take a second to like maybe connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message, not about work or what they're peddling or anything like that, but just as a human, like, hey, it was great to meet you. Loved talking about, your kids, and, we're at similar ages, and like we should stay in touch. Let me know like in a month if you want to chat for a little bit. And like those are people that I continually have, those conversations with. I think what you talked about last with planning, I think if you have an attendee list, you kind of know who's going to be there. One thing that I'd like to try to do is when I do that, I know that they're going to be here, and I try to seek them out. Mm-hmm. Because everyone wants to be known and remembered and feel like, oh, wow, someone cared enough to like go out of their way to introduce themselves, and they remember our conversations. And again, we have to, where we started this conversation, today's conversation online, where everything is automated, you can't really automate that. Like you can't fake being genuine. So if you are genuine, you really want to get to know people, and you take the time to do it, people will always remember you. And it might not be the right time for them to buy the thing that you're selling, or, but 6 months from now it might be, or a year from now it might be. It might take forever, but the more that you do that and you have that mentality, the better it's going to be. The other thing that I really like about events, I really love the events where there's not a lot of talking like this, where there is somebody on stage and they're walking through like a PowerPoint presentation. The best events I've ever been to are ones where we are forced collaboration, whether it's in like smaller groups or open, like happy hour type things with the tall tables, where it's just kind of a mixer and people get to talk to each other, including like curated like dinners at those events during the same week. So, some of our partners like Happily, we've done some of those in the past, and they turn out fantastic. And we meet a lot of fantastic people. But we actually take something from it. We remember those conversations. Whereas if you were to ask me what was actually on the slide or what the presenter talked about, I'd have to look back at a recording to know.
You're like, I don't know, but like I met this person, or this person made me feel X, Y, Z. It's the Maya Angelou. Like we all know, man, it's about how you feel. And people are trying too hard to learn tools when they should just look inside and be genuine. Like, who am I? Right? You can't talk to anybody else about who they are and understand until you understand what makes you you, and then take those components that like structure and like, well, what makes them them, and that's called connection. And people don't learn about that at all. People don't exercise that, and that's why in-person events are doing so well, because it's like, I forgot what it felt like to like be noticed, to actually understand and try to get communication there. So ton of stuff there, right? And when you have that event life cycle, again, everything revolves around CRM for us and folks that kind of really understand. Like my brain is not for storage, right? My brain is for computation, and I can't remember everything, right? Like that's why I have paper and pen and CRM and all this stuff. But when you're able to plan and invite and run your events and follow up automatically, like that's the tools piece. The tool is so that it remembers and follows up with you. But the genuine thing is about what you're talking about, right? It's the message that's delivered via the tool. I think that people look at tools and try to have tools just like do all the shit and just be like, oh, it's click, it's gonna do all the things. And that's where it falls apart. And when you don't have anything relevant to say of what happened, like you lose. So we always make sure that when you are building out an event, whether you're using Happily, whether you're using anything, right? Whether that it's about our business, right? I know we're focused on professional services. I mean, pretty much everyone in their life is delivering a service professionally, but in the profession of being a human, right? It's why do I need to care about someone else? That is the main thing. They don't breathe. Taking yourself out of that situation is what really makes events win, because it forces you to talk. It forces you to get off the couch, get out of your chair, and go and talk to somebody about what you can't, because people won't talk to you. They'll end the conversation real quick if you're not passing the test, right? If you're like talking about you're trying to peddle your wares too heavily, like he'll be like, oh yeah, all right, well it's nice talking. Like they're gonna feel out of place. You're gonna feel like you're doing something wrong. You are doing something wrong. You're not really making sure and building that trust, which is the entire point of what we're really talking about, right? Because if you're in this business of people, we're all pretty much in this people business, unless we are working on like assembly line. But when you're in the business of people and talking to people, then you have to have this relationship. I'm going to take a wild assumption, Jeremy, that a lot of your clients that you have at RevOnyx are longer clients. I don't see you guys being very transactional in nature of like onboarding by. I don't see that.
Nope.
There it is.
Like 95% of our customers are reoccurring customers, and the vast majority of them stay, well beyond a year plus. In fact, it's even interesting because a lot of the clients that were intended to be short-term projects, or hey, it's like a 3-month thing and we'll help you get started, they turn into long-standing relationships because we end up building that trust with them, that they're like, well, what should I do? Should I go with the people I already trust, or should I go back to my LinkedIn inbox and like try to sift through all of this AI garbage to try to figure out? So it's like, once you make that relationship, you're doing a lot for your business too. Like, I know we've been talking a lot about like on a human level, which is so important, but from like a RevOps perspective too, I always think that not enough emphasis gets put on the back end of the customer journey, which is the support, customer success. And it's funny because the ones that you create that relationship with are the ones that stick with you forever and become brand ambassadors and promoters of your brand, and then inevitably bring you your next client. So like even the SaaS companies and the tech companies that we help, the most successful ones are the ones that do that the best. They take care of their existing customers the best. And that kind of just feeds the new pipeline for them that they're so desperately trying to find. So,
and it's again setting up the tools so that you can facilitate them taking care of their people. That's all. If you really boil it down to RevOps of like what it is like, how can you make people feel cared about systematically?
Yeah.
Whether it be the sales reps are feeling taken care of because they always have the right data, they always have the right, phone numbers, they always have the context of what to do, they know what to do next, they feel good about themselves, right? It's really all this is the tools to make that. And with events, it's about, well, okay, who am I inviting? Do they feel that am I adequately communicating to them so they don't feel lost? They don't feel forgetful that they forgot this event was going on. When they show up, do they know what to do? Like one of the things I hate when you go to a restaurant and you like walk up and you're like, do I seat myself? Do I sit here?
Right. You have no idea.
We just walk. We have no idea what to do. And now I feel bad, right? Like I feel bad. Like I'm doing something wrong. And odds are someone's right next to me being like, what are you doing? Like, go sit down. But I don't know if I should. Like, is it seat my... You give people the direct path when you have an event. Like, okay, you're going to do this. Here's what to expect. Have your QR code ready. If your VIPs go to the right, general ad go to the left. Cool. We're all in. And having that, and then once you have that inside of HubSpot and you're able to see who attended and who didn't, you can easily say thank you for coming. You can easily say, man, you really missed out. Like, you got to get off the couch, dude, because it was a really great time. Here's some photos of what you missed on. Or here's a survey. How do we do, right? Can I make all of this is the systems that you can do automatically with Happily and with HubSpot and with people that are intelligent that can implement things like this and really implement a full suite of this is connected. Like we are the molecule that's in the world, that's in the planets, it's in the universe. It's all the same, right? And we're all just trying to stay connected. And connection means understanding who we are in one another. And that's where it all kind of goes into this, this journey of how to build an events. And I wanted to bring up another thing, which is you talked about people that we work with usually work with us over a long period of time. Mm-hmm. But you weren't their first rodeo is the key thing. Like the events that we do, like people always have expectations and or baggage. So I would love to understand how you kind of remove that doubt, because again, they came in from a bad experience. They came in from a bad relationship. Most people that are going into new relationships had to get out of a relationship, meaning that it went bad somewhere. How do you work through that? I mean, not even with an events time, just as building a relationship to get past the past.
It's not easy. It's not easy because some people honestly are truly damaged from those previous relationships. I mean, if you were to poll everybody here and you just put the word consultant and then people had to rate whether that was a positive or a negative word, I would venture to guess that it is not a positive first emotion that comes to mind, because it's fractional, it's at arm's length, they're not one of ours, they're hired guns, and they behave that way. And so what's so interesting and so funny is, for the work that we do, and I do think that we have a lot of bright people, we do some really good things and some cool stuff. But I think what sets us apart primarily is that we actually take the time to care. We get to know our customers. We meet them when we can. Like, we try to go out of our way when they're in town to go, talk with them and meet with them, and not talk about work, but just meet them as humans. A big thing is doing what we say we're going to do. And it's the simple things that drives me crazy. I mentor a handful of new consultants trying to break into the space, and they always ask me like, "Hey, what's like the most important thing?" And I always just say, "Do what you say you're going to do, and just listen." That's it. Like that's the success criteria. And it's like 50% about the relationship building and earning that trust, and it's 50% about all the crazy technical things that we do. There's a billion people that can create a Salesforce flow or some workflow automation or to integrate a third-party tool. But I think what keeps coming back is this idea that if someone asks us for something, we're actually going to care about it. We're going to respond. We're going to do everything in our power to deliver for them, even if we don't, even if it's like, "Hey, tomorrow I need this done." It's like, "Look, we can't get that done tomorrow, but in 2 days we can, and we'll deliver for you when that happens." It's like that setting expectations, and it's all that I think is what's led to our team's success. And frankly, those are like effort things. That's like an effort metric. That's not you have to be an expert. That's just, do you care? And it's crazy to me that more people don't. And in fact, a part of me is thankful because it makes it easy for us to win business and keep clients. Yeah. But it's just such an easy thing. Like going back to how I started the company, like, and I just helped people online, and that's what turned into that. I do that every week now. I continue to.
Yeah, I think it's, for all those that are listening, the bar is low for being a great person to people, being a trustworthy individual. Why is that? I don't know. I don't think it's in our psyche to be bad. I think we're inanimmately good, but I think we're like innately selfish. And I think that's the biggest thing, that we're just like, I care. I have to care about me. Who else is going to care about me? I have to care about me. And that who else is going to care about me is the problem. We don't think that other people care, because guess what? It's this vicious cycle of everybody worrying about themselves. And when you have this, when you're able to make this impact, this all gets broken down in person. Everything, none of the bull jive, none of that stuff is, you can't fake it in person. You can't fake it. You can online, you can fake everything. I mean, everything is mostly for faking. We're making posts so that we can do X or have Y or receive Z. Person,
I'm not even real. This is my AI.
Yeah, we're Hey Joe.
I'm on a client call right now. This is just my like AI, bot doing this. I just fed it. I've been feeding it all my feelings, and
there's a non-zero chance that that's true. In person, it's 0 chance. Like I smell you, man. It's real.
Oh yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, it's just hopefully you'll still smell. You don't reek of again. I can commission breath.
Yeah, no.
What you don't want people reeking of is the commission breath, where they're like at your event and they're like, "All right, so you can sign here. We can get this. I can get DocuSign right now." What do you like? Do what we're eating?
Yeah.
Why are you being like that? So again, to put a bow on this, man, it's super important for people to realize that being genuine is the core. Everything should start with building trust. And right now, online, it's not happening. It's just not, right? You have to either at minimum be on a one-to-one virtual call, or even the telephone, dare I say, pick up the phone and talk to someone and be like, "I know you weren't expecting this call, but I just want to check in because we haven't heard from you in a while. Is everything good? Everything's great. Cool. That's all I want to know. You still breathing? Still good? Kids still, but boom, we're good.
Yep.
Those things go leagues and people don't want to take those steps. And when you set up events for people, it forces you to take those steps. It forces you to be on your best behavior. It forces you to like actually care about the person you're talking to. Otherwise you wouldn't go, right? Otherwise you wouldn't have the expectations. And we know that when you do run an event, it's going to be all shats and gaggles and champagne popping and whatever at the event. It's always going to be good. It's usually going to be a good time. But what happens afterwards? Like, did you remember the conversations that you have? Did you have a mechanism or a tool to remember the context of the conversations that you have? Like, who was this person? What did they look like? What were they wearing? What was on their bag? Where are they from? What school? All those things, right? Do you have the tools to have the context to make that happen? Because that's where true relationships matter, and everything else stems from that. Doesn't matter what you're selling, what you're peddling, what you want, what you need. If there's a relationship, that's where you're going to start with any of those things. And that's why we talk about events and we care about events. Why I believe, our firm belief, is that events are going to be what sets businesses apart, what sets experience apart. It's not going to be some online thing. It's not going to be some message that all of a sudden you cold emailed a million people and now your business is booming. No, if they don't care, they're going to leave, because everybody can do that now. Everybody can spam everything. Everybody can make crazy commercials with Star Wars. Like, everybody can do all those things now. It's not, the bar is low. But again, the bar is low for that, but the bar is really, really, really low for being a genuine person. So we got some time for some questions. I think we got a couple jumping in. Always a pleasure. So someone attends multiple events. How's that context handled in HubSpot? It's preserved event by event. New stuff overwrite old stuff. Awesome question. So if you're using most regular things, like overwrite the contact, right? We talk about events and context when you go to something like, this is my dietary preferences. This is my t-shirt size. This is what I wanted for dessert, right? That's not a property of me. That's a property of me at this particular event, because I may change my mind and go vegan, and I may go gluten-free at the next event. So we personally use something called the registrant object. That is an instance of a contact going to an event. So when they sign up for stuff, it gets memorialized on this object specifically. So you can refer like, oh, they ate this, or they had this type of ticket. But then at the next event, there's another registrant object that has the information for that event. Oh, they ate that. Oh, they did this. Oh, their NPS was a lot higher this time. It allows you to report on that data of like, is this person having a better overall experience over time? Or is it lackluster? Or is it something that's happening and everybody's all of a sudden starting to fail? And you don't get that if you overwrite the contact over and over and over again, because you lose that historical data. You actually lose the person, right? People change, people evolve, people have different, reactions to different experiences. When you have that, that's how we leverage memorializing and understanding what happened event by event for people. Great question, Human. Oof, Jeremy, this is all you. This is what you do every day, psychologist.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's not easy. I mean, the first thing, and I learned this before all this, I used to work at Apple, and I'll tell you like a quick story, and then we'll jump into this answer. But when I started at Apple, I assumed like their training, which was like 2 to 3 weeks, would be, learning about, at that time, like iPods and stuff, in the store and all of that, which some of it was, but 99% of the conversation was how to communicate, how to ask customers specific questions, how to give feedback to your peers. And we would literally just for 2 to 3 weeks practice that as a team, as a onboarding group, but just to working at the store, right? And one of the things that I learned about is you actually have to align with somebody's pain. You have to feel it with them. And that's something that I've always taken with me. You want to align with the feelings that they have, right, about that particular problem or issue. And you want to put yourself in their shoes, so that now you're side by side trying to tackle that together. And then one of the things that we want to make sure of is that we're saying, hey, here are the things that we're going to do together to make sure that that doesn't happen. And listen, sometimes it's on the person we're working with too. It's a two-way street, right? A lot of the situations, there's two sides to every story, but a lot of those situations, expectations need to be correct. There have been times where I've worked with our clients where their expectations for how we should operate are not in line with how an external team would come in and work. But it's that acknowledging and aligning of, like, this was your pain. I could understand how that would feel being in your shoes. We want to make sure that you do not have that feeling. And here's the plan that we're going to agree to together that fixes it. And then, of course, doing what you say, like we've talked about ad nauseum, on this call. But it does start with aligning. And I'll tell you, when I used to work at Apple, we'd get all kinds of crazy stories. There was one that always sticks in my brain. But there was, and I'm going way down the rabbit hole, but we have Q&A time, and it's my time, so let's do it, right? It's just crazy Apple stories. So I was a technician, so it's like a Genius Bar, that kind of thing, with the nerds with the shirts and the lanyards, yeah. And woman comes in, like completely sobbing, and she had a computer that wouldn't turn on. And unfortunately, it was her son's computer, and he passed. He was killed in a car accident. So she brought the computer in because they had some family photos on it, and they couldn't get it to turn on. And she was like, it was like 4 weeks after it had happened. She was literally just, trying to take care of things and keeping herself, preoccupied, frankly. As someone who's not, lost a child, I couldn't imagine what that's like. But if I had said, all right, give me the computer, I'll turn it on, see if we can get some of the data out of it. Would you mind scooching over real quick? Because there's another appointment coming up. We'll be like, can you imagine if I didn't have that training? I probably would have done that. I probably would have been like every other terrible technical, shop or thing that you've ever had to do. Like Cox Internet is another big one. Like it just, there's no align. Sorry if anyone's from Cox here is like, please don't turn off my internet. Right. I don't have any other options.
We depend on you, but there's some constructive feedback.
Yeah. But that's the thing is and this is what makes Apple great. Not to be shouting out specific companies here. Like that's not the purpose, but they gave her another computer. That's what makes that transformation. Like she'll never go back. She'll always be an Apple user because of it. But the point is like if we did not treat that person and that situation the way that we should have, we would not have solved that problem, taken care of it for her, but then created a promoter. It's like a lot of times when there are issues, those are the best opportunities to create lifetime brand advocates and customers. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people just don't see it that way. A lot of people see it as a nuisance, like something we got to do. And that's something that always sticks with me because you never know what somebody is going through in life, and you will never find out if you don't ask or you don't care enough to learn more about what makes somebody tick.
That's a big one, man. You made me think of at an event that it was at Inbound. We had a client that was early on client, had a lot of challenges, moving on, a lot of customizations they needed. And they're like, hey, we're all going to be at Inbound. You want to meet? And it's like, oh, they're going to start slapping me in the face multiple times. It's like, yes, I do want to meet. Perfect. They come. And one of the things that a lot of people notice too, right, is those emails can be scathing, but in person, delightful. Mm-hmm. Delightful. Why is that? It's because I want to communicate, and people, again, we're inherently nice. I'm not going to come yelling and screaming, but you may have some concerns. And the fact that we're willing to sit down and talk to you, the fact that I'm willing to hear like you said, the person and the situation. It's not like, this is what happens. Here's the response. It's this person, this situation. Being able to look at that and take that into account when you meet people in that particular space, then things change. They become an advocate. Now they're advocates for us because I know what they look like. I know where they're from, and we've all hung out multiple places. Those things change everything. And I think that as we wrap this up, it's a big deal. We got another question. Peyton coming in. Coordinate a lot of our teams, conference, presence, events. I don't need to attend them. Good ways to support the team, ensure those genuine convos are happening in specific follow-up. Awesome. So if you're leveraging Happily in our kind of our lead scanning app, allows you to take pictures of badges and get that right in your CRM, you can actually make the user or your team answer some specific questions. For me, I always ask, what's people's favorite color? As dumb as that sounds, I'll ask what's your favorite color actually? But then I don't leave it at blue, Jeremy. I'm like, what kind of X? What kind of blue? And I think I already asked you that last time we talked. You're like, oh, it was like this navy blue. And I was like, oh, you did light North Carolina blue. See, folks, Peyton, you pulled it out. Like, I remember that not only does Jeremy like blue, it's North Carolina blue, the light blue of sorts, right? But so you can, I would say, enforce certain questions to be asked, and they can be off the wall questions. Like, why do they have to be just like business name? What's your EIN and TT number and all? You could say like, ask them what the favorite cuddly animal is. Like, ask them what their pet's name. Just again to break that, because it's not going to stop at that question. They're not going to be like, a pet's name is Rocka. Next question. No, it's going to be like, right. Rock. You're like, well, the Rock is a cat. You're going to start to bring out emotion, right? And that's how you start to be genuine. When it gets off of work and this schedule and this path of question, this robotic thing we're all trying to escape. Once you break that barrier, and I have, Jerry's probably like me, I have a challenge staying in that barrier because I'll just talk about whatever, because that's what we're here for. And that's how you can kind of enforce that and get that data so you can make it genuine. Don't make people feel like they're being interviewed. Don't make people feel like they're scanning a lead. Like you said, Jeremy, when we first connected, you're like, oh, I was like, are you using lead scanning? You're like, no, I like to call it friendship scanning, right?
Yeah, there you go.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I remember those things. I don't even know when you said that. Was like months ago. But those are the things when you really put personality into and you put a personal touch into that, like you can have the reps all add a question that they have to ask when they kind of get the badge or get everything into the CRM, like a question they have to ask that's completely off the wall. That's where genuine, you can't teach people to be genuine, but you can bring it out of them because we're all human. So that's awesome question, Peyton. I appreciate that one. Jeremy, if you want to add to that.
I think the one interesting thing, and I've learned this in practice, I think everybody from a business perspective, like if I'm head of marketing, CMO, and I'm like, okay, we want conferences and events to be a part of our strategy. The goal is to build pipeline to generate revenue so we can prove that going to the event and our function is worthy to the business. That kind of it is at odds with how you build relationships, right? Because you're kind of like forcing the issue, right? Like you want new revenue, you want new clients. Like that is the impetus from going to events. And so there's this innate need to be like, and Peyton, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if it's like an accountability thing, like people are going and not building relationships, and like how can I make sure that they do so? It's more of like a mindset kind of problem. Like there's only, and I think this is roughly true, there's only about 3% of the people that you talk to in any number that are willing or ready to buy the thing that you are selling, generally. And so if you meet 100 people at a conference, only 3 of them are in the market and could potentially buy from you. So if you think about that and you only meet 20 people, what's the likelihood that any of them are going to be pipeline? Like right then and there. So it's asking your team, who do you remember? Who did you meet? What kind of conversations did you have? Finding a place in your tech stack to save that information and then call on it so that the outreach can be personalized. Because really what you're trying to do is you're trying to nurture the relationship. And then when the time is right for them to make a buying decision, you are the only person or team or company that they remember. And it will usually be because you built a really good relationship and you are following up with them. But it's not like I'm going to go to a conference and I'm going to get 3 deals, unless what you're selling is very transactional or you're giving away like free trials, especially in the consulting space. It's just very, very different.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's I think the biggest thing I want to, double tap that you did was you want to make it so that you're the only one. Like you're the only one that reached out. You're the only one that remembered me. You're the only one I can remember. Like remember, like I can find, right, and search for all there's so many tools that do so many things. There's so many consultants, dime a dozen, right? We're not anything new. Not many things in this world now are novel. Everything's kind of like already existed in a different flavor, but it's about the one that brings something out of you. What's the one that's nostalgic for you, or the person you actually remember? Or if I had to choose between 10 vendors for something, I'm going to choose the one I met. Like, duh, I know them. Like, at least I have a throat to choke, as they say, right? I just know what they look like. I know what they're about at minimum at that change. And I'll let that be the jump off of whether we continue to do business or not. Because it's like, do you live up to, like we talked about with events in the file, do you live up to what you said you were going to do? Because then you either have the opportunity to make a huge difference or opportunity to get kicked to the curb so fast because like I know you now. I really don't like you because I know you. I met you. You said all this stuff in my face. Right, I wouldn't believe it if it was the email, but you told me with your voice that you were going to do X, Y, and Z, or I was going to feel X, Y, and Z. Now I feel stricken, and I'm not messing with you. I'm telling everybody not to mess with you. So those are that's the biggest things. So we appreciate that question. If there's no other questions, Jeremy, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate this little rapport and understanding like relationships and people. And we were going to be unapologetically ourselves because that's what makes us us, because everybody else can be everybody else. And everybody else can be whatever they say in that pitch slap LinkedIn. Like, great to meet, by the way.
If you want to continue to do those things, that's okay. It'll just make us look better. So you keep the bar low. It makes it easy for us to exceed. So it's totally up to you guys. But listen, Dak, thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Oh man, well, we are here. You know where to find us. RevOnyx, happily. This is what we do. We're in the HubSpot ecosystem. We're on LinkedIn, speaking our truth, saying what we talk about, talking about cats, cats, guitars, and what vitamins we take. That's what we talk about.
That's right.
Appreciate all y'all.